couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I was like, no. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they're, expecting to see? I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they were expecting to see me come up and then they see the thanks for watching thing come up? I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Truly. But anyway, how are we doing tonight? I know we just did this whole thing a few hours ago, but we're back again. Back again. State of play was alright, right? What up, Zach? Nelson? Shin Abomination? Good to see you. Frederick, Last Soldier, Shadow Star, as always, how are you? Oof. Alright. So, I had just a couple of wrap-up thoughts on the whole state of play thing. I feel like... Let me check my volume real quick. I'll turn it down just a little bit. I feel like Sony should have a couple of different designations for what their different presentations are called. We know we got a presents, state of play, and maybe there should just be like an update, or a title update or something. I don't know. I feel like there should be three things they do, like as far as like the digital features, to kind of I think a state of play should be reserved for just like, oh my god, they're going to show something. A presents, and then like a third. I don't know. I was just thinking about that earlier today. I was like, I wish there was some kind of way to where when you see a certain presentation that PlayStation or anybody is going to put on, that you have an idea of what level of interest you should have in it, right? Now, I was looking forward to the state of play today, and I wasn't disappointed. So that's not what this is about. I wasn't disappointed at all. I really feel like a lot of people were, and I think a lot of content creators were telling people, yo, temper your expectations. There could be some cool stuff, but don't get too excited. That's you gotta measure your hype. You gotta hype responsibly for these things, right? So I don't have a lot to say about the state of play from earlier today, except for that. Maybe if they had like, Sony Presents, PlayStation State of Play, and a like some kind of like PlayStation highlights or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, Tokyo Game Show, Tokyo Game Show. I keep saying that because of the TG in the name, but Game Awards is a month away. Everybody's favorite trailer showcase. I put little stock. I don't want to say I don't care about who wins the awards, because I do. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make or break the experience for me, who wins or who doesn't. Like, my game of the year is my game of the year. I don't care what a bunch of people who are paid to vote say. Your game of the year is your game of the year. Best soundtrack, all that kind of stuff. Whatever moves you, moves you. And that's fine. It is nice when what you like won, but it's not the end all be all. I watch the Game Awards for announcements and little moments and stuff like that. So I do like when small teams get their flowers at the Game Awards. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I know a lot of people were really mad that Final Fantasy VII Remake 3 wasn't there. I'm like, there were a lot of other great games. Like, FF7 is not the gaming industry. Like, that's, I love FF7, obviously. But, you know, I don't let a lack thereof for content for that game deter me or tear me down from other things that are happening. So, all the big things will be there at the Game Awards. Yeah, all of it. Which also reinforces what I want to talk with you all about tonight. We're going to talk about it again. But first, I want to get your all's opinion. Let me get your opinion real quick. I'm going to wait for some chats to show up in the window here because I want to discuss. That's what COFFMANITE Tuesday night is. You know, we're talking live about what's on your mind, give my thoughts on what you're thinking. I'll talk about what I'm thinking. You all can give your thoughts on it. But how do we feel about the Game Awards Inc. being the hype conglomerate, right? They're kind of controlling they're kind of containing all the big announcements. Because that's what's happening right now. And a few months ago, I called it came out today that Amazon Prime will be streaming the Game Awards. I thought we were a year away from something like that, but I told you all. I told everybody that was where this was going. Some people were like, I don't think that's going to happen. Boom, it's happening this year. They already got the deal done. Now, it's not blocked behind a paywall yet. Because here's what's going to happen. If the show this year does big numbers, which they think it's going to, for Amazon Prime is going to cut them a huge ass check to be exclusive to Amazon Prime. Mark it. When I tell you to mark something, you better mark it. You mark that. Because, and I don't think this will happen in 2026, but 2027, I think the Game Awards are going to be exclusive to a streaming service somewhere. It's going to happen. So how do you all feel about that? Just let me know. How do you all feel about that? I want to read your comments. Okay, so, well, yeah, I could think Jeff Keighley's a great ambassador for gaming. I've said that many times. But here is the issue. Here's the side issue with it. If companies want to put their big announcement out, Jeff Keighley and them were building it to be the biggest stage, being Game Awards Inc. If you want to see the big announcements and have that moment of hype and enjoy it with everybody else, you're going to get to a point to where you have to have that streaming service. Because these other companies are going to get paid for their announcement. Like the Game Awards will have this huge amount of money. They will go to these companies like Capcom and your Square Enixes and your Konamis and your whoever else you want to put in there, or your Naughty Dogs or whatever. Unless it's like a studio-owned property, like PlayStation owning Naughty Dog or something like that, being Last of Us only on Play. Like, you see what I'm saying? Game Awards will have the money to go to these companies and give them a fat contract for their announcement so they can have it on their show to get those numbers in to drive their contract up with whatever streaming service they are. So these companies are going to be like chomping at the bit, lining up to get into the Game Awards just to have announcements. That's what I'm talking about. That is dangerous. That needs to be free market. Like those trailers and things for us to watch, that stuff should be like free for us to check out. we shouldn't be getting charged to see the big gaming announcements. I mean, game trailers tried to do that to an extent. You know, they tried to hide things behind a paywall before the end, you know, become a member and everything and see the new releases, you know, the day of and all that kind of stuff. It didn't work out, you know. And the thing is, and I saw somebody make an argument, it's like, well, you're all like monetizing hype. On a great month on YouTube, I make $150. I'll just be plain with you. As much as I'm on here making content, my numbers aren't that. I make $150 a month. I'm not monetizing anything. That's my family phone bill. That's it. But we're getting to a point when I talk about like monopolizing hype. When you have that much power over how people want to put out announcements and serve the public and serve their announcement and their advertising to people, the Game Awards are a third party. They can start influencing how people want to advertise their stuff. Like other studios, well, cut it this way, edit it this way so it can be on our program, and then think about that. How long before they start having a say in how people make their games? Oh, that won't happen. How many times do people say things like, oh, that won't happen, and then a year later that thing happens? When people say things like, oh, that won't happen, that means those things are pretty close to happening. So I'm like, look, I'm not doom and gloom. I'm saying it's fine. But, you know, step one, get the big contract with a big streamer. Get a fat daddy contract. Step two, start paying these other people big money for their big announcements. And then it's behind the paywall. Step three, just tune in and watch on TV. You know, it takes away the fun. Like, I like to hang out with you all and do these things, you know, and then it becomes exceedingly harder when it's behind a paywall. And if it goes in that direction, I won't be streaming those things. So, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. Maybe I'm the only one seeing it going that way. Maybe I'm the only one who sees the dangers of having one company influencing exactly how people can get the word out about something. If I'm the only one, that's fine. Then screw it. If I'm the only one, whatever. What up, Coach? There's just a few things in the state of play. It was a fun state of play. Interesting enough. Still got Xbox. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. But anyway, I mean, well, everybody can wait and see. You know, everybody can wait and see. So, I just, I really hate that, you know, the days of going to like E3 and seeing all the fans wiling out over things, and you know, everything's controlled by big influencers and stuff now, which, you know, I don't have a dog in that fight. I couldn't go do those things if I wanted to anyway, even if I was a big channel. So I'm not, this isn't like me being like, oh, I wish I could be one of those people. It's not. I couldn't be one of those people even if I did have a big channel. I'm too busy. I can't go do that stuff. I do this stuff for fun here on this channel. Hang out with you all, have a good time and all that. But I don't know. I get the marketing person in me gets real antsy, gets real worried when it looks like somebody is trying to monopolize marketing and messaging. Like, I get real worried about that. Like, because people should be able to put out their messaging how they want, when they want, on a dime. And like this company is trying to control all of that, you know. It is what it is. So it is what it is. I'll drop it. It doesn't looks like I'm the unpopular opinion on that. It is what it is. I had to get that off my chest. I just, you know, I see what Game Awards, they're trying to be like the souped up version of E3, but it's a very vanilla version of it. It doesn't have the wild energy. It doesn't have the excitement around it. It doesn't. It's just something that we talk about and we hype up for weeks until the thing gets here. Then everybody's like, well, that was kind of a letdown. Well, yeah, because it's a vanilla version of the thing you expect you're getting. Very, very, very vanilla, you know, and I hope they spice it up this year. So, but, anywho, it'll be wild to see. So, what's everybody's game of the year? Guess we'll talk about that. What's everybody's game of the year? Put them in the chat. What's getting your goatee at this moment? I know some people have been wavering on that a little bit. Some people don't exactly know what they're going for. Mine hasn't changed. Mine has not changed a bit. A bit. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That is my game of the year. Like, I've been kind of playing it a little bit off stream just for 15-20 minutes here and there, just running through, doing battles and stuff. Man, that game is so... It's still so good. It's still so good. And the vocal cues, like in between battles and stuff like that, it just really... Man, I don't know. It really reminds me, like, the performances for the little vocal stuff in battle, that's not the Powerhouse performance stuff. But it reminds me of the Powerhouse performance stuff, because you're hearing their voices as you're playing. Well, yeah, a lot of people are pushing back, saying Expedition 33 is not going to win because it was so far out. I was like, nah, man, that game was a centerpiece of this generation of gaming. Yeah, like it's wild. You know, it's hard for me to say what the game of the year was for me personally because I didn't get to play a lot of them where I was so busy. But what I've seen and what I have played, it's like I've played some good games this year. I played some really good games this year, but Expedition 33 is just like, it's just something else, man. And I'm going to put my review out at the end of this month. I've been sitting on my review for Expedition 33. I've been kind of editing it, trying to figure out how I want to edit it down and maybe cut this out, maybe add this or that. But, you know, I've got it down to where I want it. And I think I'm just going to release it the last week of the month in November. A week or two before the Game Awards. Figured that'd be a good time to put it out because people will be talking about Clair Obscur. We did the review here on a live stream. If you all remember, I did review it on live stream. I was going to edit that down and put it up. But I thought about going to the Game Awards this year. I had an opportunity, and I thought about it. And I was like, nah, probably won't. I wasn't invited or anything like that. I was just going to get a ticket and go because it would have been wild and fun, but couldn't afford it, you know? So it was just, I'll watch it with you all here at the studio. And plus, had I gone, I couldn't watch it with you all, so. Yeah, it's so well written. It is really, really well written. Incredibly well written. Like it's staggering. Like the level of writing in that game and characterization and just how well the voice actors brought those characters to life. It's almost spellbinding. It's so good. And I was really happy because I almost didn't play it right away. I almost waited. I was going to get through Oblivion, which I never even went back to Oblivion like hardcore. Like I played a little bit here and there for Oblivion, but I didn't like jump back into streams for Oblivion, you know. So it kind of intercepted Oblivion for me. Like it kind of ran up in front of it. So, but yeah, Expedition 33. Now here's a question I want to ask you all. Again, this plays into the whole I have not played as much stuff as you all have this year. What is your best soundtrack of the year? Because I've heard there are a lot of really good soundtracks that came out this year with games and stuff. I haven't listened to all of them, obviously. But I would be curious to hear, what is your soundtrack of the year? Because that's one that I need some new soundtracks. I guess that's what I'm getting at. And a lot of you all have been talking about this game or that game. Haven't got a chance to play Silent Hill F yet. I heard that soundtrack is super creepy. There's some other ones. I heard Elden Ring, the expansion or whatever, has like a really killer soundtrack. I've heard that too. And the Dragon Quest games, I know they have a good soundtrack. I've listened to a little bit of those, so I've been checking those out. But I would Silk Song has a good soundtrack. Okay. Alright. I can believe that because I like the Hollow Knight soundtrack a lot. That has a really good soundtrack. Death Stranding 2? Okay. Yeah, I haven't played Death Stranding 2. I like the first Death Stranding. I wouldn't say the soundtrack stood out to me in the first Death Stranding. But Death Stranding 2 could be a little bit different on that. Yeah, I've got to start digging through the backlog for sure. And I apologize. I'm not feeling good tonight. Like I'm really just like, I don't think I'm under the weather. I think I just haven't slept enough. I think I've been trying to stay up and trying to really get a lot of work done and things. And I think I'm just a little sleep deprived right now. So if I seem a little low energy, I'm into the stream. I'm just like, I'm really, really sleep deprived right now. Just haven't been resting enough. So, yeah, I thought you all were going to be really chatty about the Game Awards stuff. And it's like, I was talking about it and it seemed like it was kind of a dead subject for everybody. That was kind of what I was kind of coming in with. I got a couple other things I want to talk with you all about, but I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like those will be good topics. I don't know. I think huh. Oh, I thought I saw some news come across my phone. Hey, hang on a second. I gotta send this text real quick. Let's see. Alright, sorry about that. I had a couple of texts. I thought there was like a... I thought somebody was giving me a little scoop there, but it wasn't anything. It was nothing. The demo for Octopath Zero. Yeah, that could be interesting. I want to get back to Lunar 2. Or not Lunar. I got to get to Lunar 2. I've still got to do the Dragon Quest remasters. I got to get through Tales of Xillia. I've got to get back to Final Fantasy Tactics. Just, man, it's wild. Like every minute of the day right now is just like taken up, and it's a lot. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, like right in the morning, and it's in another town, another city over from where I'm at. So it'll be 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, and then however long it's going to be there. And it's like, man, I wish I could do Shadow Clone Jutsu, right? Kage no Bushin. I need to create 2 more of me so I can get everything done I want to get done. But it is what it is. You know what I was really hoping I would see today at that thing? I was really holding out for hope for no reason at all. I saw nothing. I've heard nothing. I know nothing. But I was really hoping a big surprise today would be like a new Castlevania game. And that's why I'm playing the Castlevania music tonight. That was the other big thing I wanted to talk about tonight. I don't know. And I want to gauge your all's opinion because I feel like a lot of my audience is much younger than me, right? Many of you all are much younger than me. And a lot of you haven't played Castlevania, don't even know much about that series or whatever. What's the temperature on that? Are you all even mildly curious, or is it one of those things where I'm like, I remember loving Castlevania, I still love it so much, but other people haven't played it, and maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's not a big deal anymore. I don't know. Like, I'm always curious about what you all think, because I kind of spurt things out, you know, that I want to see, that I'm curious about and everything. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a pipe dream. What was Rick saying on The Walking Dead? Maybe I'm just fooling myself again. That could be, right? But no, man, I think it could go hard. I think it would be really good. But, you know, I guess they've done the market research and stuff, and maybe the desire just isn't there. Maybe the audience just isn't there for it anymore. I don't know. I know that's one thing that a lot of developers and artists and creators and even musicians and music companies and everything, they're trying to figure out, you know, what's the audience for their product. You know, I know a lot of gaming companies are doing that too. What is the audience for this product? And I think we're in an area where it's like, it's really hard to figure out. You know, I think one of the things about the gaming fan-oscape is the whole landscape of fandom and everything. Is like everybody, like, there used to be like just like 3 or 4 major groups of people that liked this type of game, 3 or 4 major types of games. Well, now you've got all these smaller little pocket groups, smaller herds have broken off from like the main herds and doing their own thing. And I think it's a hard thing for gaming companies to manage. I know from a marketing standpoint that would be a nightmare. It's like, how do I even make this ad? I think that's why a lot of advertising now is very boring, because they're just trying to just catch as many fish as they can. They don't know what fish they have under their boat. They're just casting a huge net and just see what they catch, you know. So it's a kind of a Wild West time right now. The lore is killer in Castlevania, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think Konami's trying to wake up a little bit, as it were, right now. And I don't know. I don't really know what their direction is right now, because I know they're outsourcing these remakes and stuff to other companies. They still have their gambling machines and stuff like that they do pretty much primarily. I don't know what their downsizing looks like. I don't know what their numbers of in-house employees are right now, even if they have like enough people to make a AAA game right now. And maybe that's why they're outsourcing all of this stuff. I think there's a lot they could do with the gameplay of it. Like, especially with sub-weapons and, you know, learning spells and abilities and all this other kind of stuff. You could do a lot of dynamic stuff. I think 3D Castlevania is still on the table. You could make a Metroidvania layout for a 3D Castlevania. You could map it out to be Metroidvania-esque in a way, right? Like, go here, find these things to go unlock this thing. I mean, every game does that. Resident Evil does that. Go find the crank to move the thing in the library to get into the attic. You know, I mean, yeah, you could just take Resident Evil's like gameplay, like exploration mechanics, and make a killer Castlevania game with that. Absolutely. Like, it doesn't have to be side-scrolling. You know, I thought we might get a little something, you know, from Konami. Like, maybe even they just put Silent Hill F out now, but and they're still kind of pushing that. But I thought maybe there'd be an outside chance we would hear something about the Metal Gear remake or a Silent Hill remake. But this very much felt like, at the end of the day, them Castlevania Netflix animes. Well, I really liked season 1 of Castlevania. I thought the dialogue was a little rough. I thought the voice acting was rough in spots. Like, sometimes they were just whispering into the microphone. I was like, man, just bring that gain up. Bring that gain up a little bit. And, you know, Trevor Belmont was written like Jack Sparrow. And he's totally not Jack Sparrow. I mean, there are numerous things they got wrong with the lore, but at the end of the day, like, it was serviceable. It introduced a lot of people to Castlevania. But I consider the first 12 episodes to be one season. I wouldn't consider 4 episodes to be a season of anything, you know. It's a mini series. That's a mini series. But I just think there's a lot of meat on the bone with Castlevania. And I think after years of being dormant, I think they could come back with something really cool. And I'd honestly like to see that. I'd honestly like to see them tackle something and do something new with the franchise. So, a remake of 1 and 2, you know, smash it together like I said. Or do something different. You could remake Castlevania 3 since those characters are still popular from the Netflix series. You know, anything. Look at what Square Enix did with Final Fantasy VII. Kind of reinvent the story, and you know, it's still the same story, but it's kind of reinvented in a way. I think that could be a definite direction. The first Lords of Shadow game was incredible. That first Lords of Shadow was absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't put it down. I could not put that game down. Like, when the game was coming out, I remember talking to my friends, and I was like, dude, it's going to be the story of the first Belmont. It's going to be the first Belmont. What? They're rewriting who the first Belmont is. This is crazy, you know? Like, it's the Belmont before Leon or something, you know. Because Leon was obviously the first of the line of vampire hunters, you know? But then they did this whole Elseworlds kind of thing with it, and put it on its head. I still love Leon. I think Leon's a great character, and the whole story with him and Matthias Kronkvist, it's still my preferred beginning of Dracula lore. But Lords of Shadow was awesome, and the way they portrayed the birth of Dracula, like, that game was so cinematic. It was so cinematic in the way it was told. Like, the in-between levels, like when Zobek is reading the chapters, Patrick Stewart, you know, dude, the voice cast for Lords of Shadow was absolutely nuts. Nuts. Jason Isaacs, the British actor who played Belmont, I can't remember his name, played Gabriel. You had Patrick Stewart and, like, all these amazing theater. Like, you had these Shakespearean actors playing these roles. It was absolutely nuts, the level of voice acting in that game. But in between the levels, like, it would, you know, you turn a chapter in the book or whatever as you're going along, there's illustrations, and you would see Gabriel walking with, like, very labored walking, like he's carrying the weight of the world on him. And you see the pages turning. Dude, it was so good. That game was so good. And for me, Lords of Shadow 2 was a big letdown. Like, I felt really let down by Lords of Shadow 2. It just wasn't the same. And like that Lords of Shadow 2 announcement trailer is still my favorite trailer of all time. It's my favorite video game trailer of all time. It's cinematic. It uses a slowed down version of Vampire Killer. And at the end of it, you get Alucard. You know, it's got all these little Easter eggs in it, and just like, it's so good. It's so well made. And to think that was the point in time where Konami was like, we're done. We're done. We're just going to do these gambling machines now. Just unthinkable. Just unthinkable. Konami was like riding high. Like, say what you want to about Metal Gear Solid 4 into Metal Gear Solid 5. It just was like, it wasn't my favorite era of Metal Gear, but business-wise, Konami was killing it. And then they fell off a cliff. They just fell off a cliff. There was a new Castlevania in development. There was a new Silent Hill. I want to say there was a Zone of Enders 3 in development before Nojima got shit canned. So Kojima, not Nojima, Kojima, before he got fired, and they had that whole unceremonious parting with Kojima. Was crazy. They had a Metal Gear Solid movie in development, which that movie's still in development. It's in development hell. I don't think that movie will ever get made. Oscar Isaac's supposed to play Snake, but he's too old to play Snake now. They're going to have to get somebody else to play Snake. If it ever gets made. Lament of Innocence is so nostalgic for me. Played the heck out of it freshman year in college. Yeah, dude. Yes, F25. That Lament of Innocence is so good. I remember picking up the gaming magazines and seeing screenshots of Lament of Innocence. And I was just like, oh my god, we're going to get the birth of the whip. We're going to get the first Belmont. We're going to get the beginning of the Belmonts versus Dracula. That's why that Lore Junkies I did was on Walter Bernhardt, because I love that story so much. And Ronaldo Gandolfini being such a like enigmatic character, and like the whole tragedy of the birth of the vampire killer whip. I mean, dude, it's Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare wrapped in gothic horror. And the levels were great too. See, Shin, that's what I would do. Like, ooh, House of Sacred Remains. This is a great track. I'm going to turn this up a little bit for you all. Like, one of the problems I've always had with the Castlevania games is you don't actually fight vampires. Like, you don't, like, people like would always dunk on Castlevania 64. But it's the one Castlevania where you actually fight vampires. You actually have to take down vampires once you get into the castle. So I would love, like, in a new Castlevania game, you actually fight vampires. Like, lower level vampires and stuff, and you gotta fight them a certain way. And, like, I think something would be really cool is, like, you know, everybody says, oh, make it a Souls-like. Every game that comes out now, make it a Souls-like, make it a Souls-like. I wouldn't make Castlevania a Souls-like, but I would put some Souls-like elements in there with the boss fights especially. And like your mid-level boss fights and stuff, wherever area you're in. Dude, an open world 3D Castlevania game where you have to go from area to area. And what made me think about this was Chronicles of the Wolf, where you have to kind of go back and forth through the world. It's very Simon's Quest. In the way that you have to backtrack to certain areas once you find certain things. But that could work. That could so work in a 3D Castlevania. And have like a world map where you can travel back and forth. But just make it like Wallachia. Just make it like, you know, that old area of Eastern Europe right there. And you're not traveling all over the world, obviously, but the different regions. And dude, like, like day and night cycles in a Castlevania game, paramount. That would be paramount to the gameplay. And like time, like actual time passage by traversing regions and stuff. So much they could do. So I got so many ideas for a Castlevania game. Just, it could be amazing. The MGS5 trailers are my favorite game trailers ever. Kojima has great taste in music. Yeah. I don't remember the MGS5 trailers too much. Metal Gear Solid 4 put such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Because that was when they did Ground Zeroes, and then Metal Gear Solid 5 came out. Ground Zeroes was on PSP, I think it was. And then Metal Gear Solid 5 dropped. And I don't know. At that time, I just wasn't really into it. F25, Mar. I like where your head's at. Like where your head's at there. I just want a new good Castlevania game, man. I just want a new good Castlevania game. Yeah, I'm with you, Envoy of Justice. Like, here's my thing. Like, they should have like villager vampires. You know, like you go into a village in one level, and you think it's gonna be a town. You make a nice stop and everything, but all the villagers are turned into vampires, like straight up Vampire Hunter D shit, right? And they're all ghouls and fighting like these ghouls and stuff. I mean, that should absolutely be a feature in a new Castlevania game. I'd be all for that, man. That would just be sick. Just sick, man. Just bring that on all day. I'm gonna take a quick break, everybody. I'm gonna get a little more caffeine in me, but I'll be right back. So, talking a little bit about the Game Awards. I know we were talking about that a little bit earlier in the stream. Like, I almost wish there was like some kind of like just block where you knew you could tune in, and it was just like, okay, game announcement. Here come all the game announcements. Here come all the trailers. You know, just like a block of time. I really hope that we get some cool JRPG announcements coming up. Look, I love all these HD 2D remasters that have been coming out. Oh, Brandon, that's cool. I'm really hoping for like some new JRPG stuff coming in 2026. I think I need to give Persona like another go too, because I'm gonna get the Trails probably after the first of the year. Trails of the Sky, the remake. I'm gonna get to that after the first of the year. I'm really excited to get into that. I've never played it. I played a little bit of one of them, but I think it was Trails in the Cold Steel. I played a little bit of that. But I'm really excited to get into it. I want to check it out. Everybody swears by it. You all have been like, oh, Ray, you'll love it. And I was like, I'm sure I will. And I'm excited to get into it and try it. I really want to dive in. But I really wish, man, there's so many great RPGs, especially the JRPGs, that, you know, I'm not talking about HD 2D remasters. I'm like, make a current sequel to some of those games. Like Alundra, like an Alundra 3, like, or a Xenogears 2. You know, make a new Xenogears. But Xenogears is one that could do with a remake. We've talked about that before. Oh, I haven't shown you all my score. I went to Half Price Books today, and I got one of the best scores I've ever gotten at Half Price Books. Let me see. Let me grab it real quick. Speaking of, so I got this. It's the Greatest Hits case, but it's the Japanese version of Tales of Destiny 2. It was only like 15 bucks. It's got the book with the warranty card and everything in it. And it's the Japanese version. I'm never going to play it, but it'll look good on my shelf. And there's a Japanese version of Biohazard 2. I've always wanted the Japanese Resident Evil games on my shelf. And now I got Leon Disc and Claire Disc. I've always wanted this on my shelf, and now I've got it. So it's I'm really excited about those. But those aren't even the main hauls. I found this. On the rack at Half Price Books. Incredible. I instantly sent it to a couple of friends of mine. They were like, dude, that's an amazing shape. And I was like, I know. I was so excited to find these. That was that Xenogears strategy guide. I've been looking for that for years. I've always seen them on eBay kind of eat up and torn up a little bit. But like, I was excited. I put it right between the Chrono Cross and Final Fantasy VII Strat guide on my shelf over here. I've been looking for that for years, and I just randomly happened to see it. And I was like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. That is amazing. And yeah, I was really excited to get those. But, you know, speaking of JRPGs, I think the Tales series really holds it down. Tales of Arise was great. Star Ocean, The Divine Force was amazing. I'll be interested to see how Square Enix, what they're doing on the other side of this restructuring that they're doing, because look, Star Ocean held it down. Like, people can say what they want to about, you know, that game. I think it was fantastic. Like, it was my favorite game. It was my goatee. and I want to say that was 2022 or 2023. I can't remember, but that was my game of the year that year. But yeah, I think Square Enix is going to come out with some banger RPGs. I'm really excited to see what they do. That's why I'm really wanting to get to 2026, you know. And I don't want to rush Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, but for me, I'm ready for Square Enix to get through the Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff. I want to see what they've got on the other side of this. I want to see what other games they want to get to, what other games they want to put out. Because I'm not worried about that company. I'm not even impatient. I think I'm just like anxiously awaiting what they do next. And who are their force of directors coming out next? Like, what is their next wave? I think Hamaguchi is going to be in there. I think some of your older guard, I think Tetsuya Nomura, I think he's just going to kind of focus on Kingdom Hearts, and I think that's going to be it. I don't know how much more directing he's going to do. He's kind of more of a producer kind of guy now, but I think Kingdom Hearts is kind of his baby, so he'll kind of handle that, which is fine. But yeah, who's going to be the new names that come up? Composers, directors. Like, for me, that's kind of really what it is at Square Enix. Who's directing it? Who's writing it? Who's composing it? Like, that's what I want to know. Kazuchika Nojima is a GOAT writer to me. I know everybody has their problems with, not everybody, but a lot of people have their problems with how he writes. I think he's a brilliant imagination. Nobu, of course, Uematsu is one of the masters, and there are so many people there that do so much great work, but who are going to be the next generation there making these great games? That's what I want to see. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about where they're going. Oh, I enjoyed the State of Play immensely. Way better than a lot of the recent ones they've had. It was way better than a lot of the recent ones they've had. Yeah, look, I tried Metaphor. I wasn't into it. Metaphor ReFantazio, I wasn't into it. Everybody, people said I was crazy. I was like, I talked to a couple of friends of mine that played it. They talked me into playing it. I kind of tried to play it a little bit. Man, and it's so long. Like, it's so long. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're just going to play that game for a year, fine. But, like, if you want to play other stuff, oh man, this music caught me off guard. This is Yohim. This is where you find the vampire Yohim in Lament of Innocence. Oh my god, music is so good. Anyway, sorry, back on track. Yeah, I'm with you, Zach. I couldn't get into it. It wasn't my thing. Yeah, Last Soldier, absolutely. Yep. I love the pace of that State of Play today. I love the way they just moved from one point to the next. Boom, 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 boom. Just keep it going. I loved that. You did fight vampires and Lords of Shadow. You're right. You did fight vampires and Lords of Shadow. I'm talking more kind of like the classic Castlevanias. Not the Lords of Shadow timeline. The other classic Castlevania timeline. Like, you never really fought just random vampires in that, you know. Actually, you know, fighting the vampires and Lords of Shadow is one of the highlights of it, you know, because there's like this whole like vampire nation unto itself, you know, and you fight a lot of vampires, like the big broody vampires. Those were very cool, and the different ways you had to take enemies down in the different areas was very, very cool, very well done. It was the first one, the first Lords of Shadow. When you're Gabriel, because you had to stake them with the butt end of the cross. I don't think the State of Play was a miss. It was pretty much what I expected going in. You know, we might get some surprises, we might not, but they're going to really focus on showing you all the great games that Japan has coming out. And at the end of the State of Play, it really hit me that I was like. Because I think I said even live on the stream, I was like, what are they getting at here with the messaging and the marketing? I was a little confused, but then I figured out, I was like, oh, they want the Japanese market to buy the PlayStation and all of its stuff. Apparently it's not doing great over there. That's why they rolled this out. I thought it was doing fine over there. Maybe not. Maybe they felt the need to do an emergency state of play to focus on honing in on the Japanese market while showing the rest of the world what the Japanese developers were working on. So, but at any rate, I felt like it was fun enough. It had some cool, that witch, the witch and the curse or whatever that is, and that was a good game. A lot of Metroidvania love in that thing. And then they had the Blaze Blue game. Looks super cool. Super cool. Strider on steroids. That was Strider on steroids. And they just kept moving, kept moving, kept moving, kept moving. Like, and I like the way, and this is an understated part of the state of play, but one that I want to focus on a little bit is anytime I see anything that, like, when they put like a production together, like Japanese developers, Japanese studios, they put together a thing for you to view. It's all focused on the fun and the imagination of being in the video games, like being in the video game industry and making these games for people to have fun with. As opposed to when America does these things, it's always like a still camera shot. Developers sit down and look at the camera, like they're making like an indie film or something. It's like, and then it shows like the process of them working hard at their desk in slow motion and all the, and doing these things, and everything is a documentary. And for me, it takes me out of the fun aspect of it. I was like, oh, that's really heartfelt. Oh, this is a really well-made little documentary piece here on the... Oh, wait. But what about the game? That's kind of how I feel a lot of times. I appreciated that the Japanese presentation today was more focused on fun. That's what Nintendo does. Like, that's what Nintendo's Directs always are. You can say what you want to about Nintendo's Directs. But they're always like, you're going to have fun. Hey, let's have some fun. Here's some more stuff. Let's have some fun, you know? It's never like, hi, I'm with this one studio, and we just really want you to get into the heart of what we're doing and the deeper meanings and complex out there-isms, and peel back the curtain on everybody in our team and all their childhood traumas, and this is what we're going deep with. And I'm like, no, man, like, show me some video game stuff, and you get that for 10 minutes sometimes, and I'm just like, no, I don't need that in a 40-minute state of play. I don't need you to dominate 15 to 25% of it with indie art house movie nonsense. Show me video games. And that's what they did today. I appreciated that very much. 10 new Battle Royale games. That's one that gets me. Like, get ready for that at the Game Awards. They're notorious for that. It's like a bunch of, like, you know, Battle Royale, looter shooter games where it's these crazy, wild, nonsensical looking dressed characters running around and just running and gunning and shooting things. And I'm always like, oh, it's this game. Oh, it's this game. Oh, it's that game. Oh, it's this game again. Okay, it's this game with a different skin. Okay. But in this one, you can turn around and shoot right here. Like, no. It's the same game, bro. It's the same game. They're just tricking you into spending your money. It's like a different studio making the same game as this studio over here and that studio over there. They're just tricking you into buying the same game 3 times because it's from a different studio. Yep. Very good artwork. Very good presentation, all in all. I really loved how it looked. The set was nice, you're right. I don't mind the indie showcases, but I think there is a good... I think there's a good balance. Like, you can balance it. If you want to show me a couple of indies, then hit me in the face with a banger, like from a big studio, I think that's the way to do it. Like, when you do just an indie showcase, there is a reason why those are the lowest viewed things, because you need to piggyback indies onto bigger things, so it can get more exposure. It's basic math. Like, if people tune in to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 and they know it's going to be there, and you put a couple of indies in front of when you're going to show this one thing, or your new Metal Gear, or your new Halo, or whatever, but you show a couple of indies in front of this, don't show them after. Do like, if you want to do your little indie showcase, do it after the big reveal. There are a way to pace these things. Like, okay, I got to come down off that announcement. I got to really come down off of this announcement, you know. Okay, they're showing like this behind the scenes at this one studio. Okay, let me come down off this announcement. I can kind of zone in on what's going on here. They're easing me into this. I'm not missing anything up front, you know. I'm getting the message on the back end of this thing. And then show me some more indies. And then boom, hit me in the mouth with another AAA banger. I mean, there are a way to pace these things. And you could do it the same way every single time. And it would work, because that's just how our attention spans work. That's how we are wired to digest things. You can't keep shoving pizza and chips down our throat continuously and then give us a little broccoli and roasted mushrooms in between. I mean, no, you got to pace the meal. You got to pace the meal. You can't keep beating people over the head with that. Not everybody wants to live in an ADHD nightmare, you know, and just inundated with like bright colors and loud sounds and boom, 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 information, rolling text, blah, 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 people talking over top of it. No, that is horrible marketing. That is horrible. You would have gotten an F in marketing. But yeah, just, you know, give us something paced out. That was so well paced today. I really enjoyed my time watching that today. But yeah, so the Square Enix stuff, I think what we'll see at the Game Awards will be, we'll get a lot of indie stuff, because we know for a fact that Jeff Keighley and his team, they're going to push indies, because we saw it at Summer Games Fest. Get ready for that. But I hope their pacing is on point. I think if their pacing is on point, then it'll be easier for people to digest. You can't just string off, like, here's a world premiere, and it's an independent game no one's ever heard of. Like, 15 people have wish listed, and then you get a 5-minute thing on, you know, how the mechanics of this, and then afterward you have them on stage talking about it. And you're not doing those companies a service. You're doing them a disservice, because people are tuning out. Just hit them with it quick. Make a badass 1 minute to 1 minute and 30-second trailer for this indie game. World premiere. Indie game. Do it. Minute and 30 seconds. Hit them with the most badass stuff from that game. Pre-order now. Wish list now on Steam. Whatever. Boom. Then move on to the next thing. Don't drag it out, because humans are going to lose interest in that. Well, I can't tell you how many times I thought of a cool indie game that I saw, and I was like, what was that game? What was that game? And I'll think about it for months, and then I'll just randomly see it like in the PlayStation Store, and I'll pick it up and play it a little bit. But had they hit me with it, made an impression for a minute and 30 seconds, my brain would have been like, I remember what that's called. I'm going to write that down. That looks awesome. I want to look more into that. Instead of like, okay, I feel like I got a vibe for this game now. Okay, I'll look into it later. You know, when they give you too much information and drag it out too much, that's why pacing is key. Pacing is key in these things. Just cut a good trailer, punch them in the mouth with it. It's like, hey, look, this is the real deal. You're going to love it. Look at all these array effects. Look at all this exploration. Look at all this kind of crazy shit you can do. You know, it's wild. It's out there. Boom. Appeal to your demographic that you want to play this game. Hit them for 90 seconds. Out. Sell the hell out of that game as soon as it's available. Instead of people forgetting what it was. You know, because they started tuning out. People start to tune out on this stuff. You know how it is. We all do it. I do it. You do it. You know, you get too much of a thing, too drawn out, you tune out. You know, and You know, these companies, I mean, if it's an independent studio, it's one or two people in their garage making their passion video game, then I understand. You don't have money behind this thing. You're just putting out everything that you can, hoping that people will check it out and enjoy it. Trust me, I understand. But if you've got money behind the thing, you've got people you're paying for marketing and advertising. They need to be doing the legwork on that stuff. So the Game Awards, I feel like we're going to see better pacing this year. That was my biggest problem with last year's show, if you all remember. We watched it together. I was like, man, the pacing is not good. Like, the pacing is bad. For a long show, the pacing was really bad. Summer Games Fest, it was just that opening hour, 2-hour thing they did or whatever. So it wasn't like a 3-hour awards show. They weren't handing out awards and stuff. But I felt like the pacing was better. Like, they got the obligatory Kojima, like, spot out of the way early. It was like first or second. I can't remember. It was like right at the beginning of the show. Kojima up, Kojima gone. And it was like 5 minutes. Gamescom was awful. Like, Gamescom was awful. Like, that was bad. Generationally bad. Gamescom was really bad. Gamescom was slapped together. Like, let's call it what it is. That show, that presentation was just slapped together. It felt like that was slapped together the night before. It really did. And they knew it was slapped together. They were holding Resident Evil hostage until the end of that show to make people watch the whole show. And that was a problem too. I think if they put Resident Evil in the middle of that show, it's like, hey, we got still got great surprises for you and all that kind of thing. If they had just put that at the end of the show or middle of the show and had something else cool at the end of the show, it would have felt like better pacing. People were waiting for Resident Evil like the whole time, and you get to a point where a show isn't drifted well, that you're looking at everything they're showing. It's like, oh my god, when are we going to get to this thing I'm waiting for? When are we going to get to the thing I'm waiting for? Oh my god. And you start to notice the problems. Or if they give you cool things to chew on and the show still has problems, you're not going to notice those problems nearly as much. This is classic, like, television. Like, television used to do this all the time, especially talk shows and stuff. They've had boring segments, down segments, but they would pace it in such an entertaining way that it wasn't as glaring, you know. Johnny Carson was really good at that. You know, his show wasn't great, but he was charismatic, and it covered up for a lot of the show's problems and stuff. Advertisers know how to do this well. People lay out shows. Showrunners know how to do this kind of thing. That's why I like the good showrunners get paid the big bucks, especially for like award shows and stuff like that. So, do I think Square's going to do anything before the Video Game Awards? Nah. I think they're standing pat. Especially if they've got a contract with the Game Awards Inc. Especially if they have a contract with them. So no, I don't think we see anything from Square before that. Like, we might see some gaming, like some game trailers come out or whatever. But so everybody's going to want to see Final Fantasy VII. We're not going to see Final Fantasy VII before the Game Awards. Not before the Game Awards. Not now. Like, because Sony's not going to come out and announce another State of Play or a PlayStation Presents, I don't believe, in anytime in the next 2 weeks. They just did this. Now, they could. Like, it could be like a, like, they could say it's like a company-wide focus, right? Not just Japanese studios and developers, but company-wide focus. That would leave the net open for maybe to show something for FF7 or Resident Evil or something like that. But I don't think that's going to happen at this point. I think they're so close. I think they've got their creative finished. They've got their advertising finished. And they are going to just stand pat with what they've got. And then in the spring, we're going to see a lot of stuff start to roll out. But I think we will get the announcement trailer. Not a release date. I don't think we get a release date. But we'll get an announcement trailer. They could say something like spring 2027 or fall 2027 or something. They could say something, you know, like that. But we'll get the title reveal trailer, like a 30-second thing maybe. I don't think it'll be super long. If it's long, it's because they're going to put content from the previous game in it. Like, Aerith, like shots of Aerith, shots of the party from Rebirth. Not anything spoilery for those who haven't played it, but shots of the party and boss battles from Rebirth, and then like 20 to 30 seconds of new stuff from the game with Sephiroth or somebody, or Aerith or somebody talking, title reveal, that kind of thing. But I don't think it'll be anything incredibly substantial at this point. Prison of Eternal Torture. God, what a name. I would love like a return to some of the action and platforming of like the PlayStation 2 era. Like, I think the PlayStation 2 era really defined the action game. Like, especially when you had bangers debuting like Devil May Cry, Onimusha, Dynasty Warrior. I mean, you had so many great action games come out at that time. Max Payne, that's when Grand Theft Auto hit its stride. Grand Theft Auto 3, you know, was what Grand Theft Auto really became Grand Theft Auto, you know. So, I mean, I would love to see like a return to like the PlayStation 2 era of kind of like great video game design. Like really just getting back to basics on video game design. Still saying Reclaim for the final game. Are you saying me? I never said Reclaim. Oh, you're saying Reclaim. Okay. Reclaim. I don't know, man. It'd be nice if PS5 was backward compatible. Let me try that again with not foggy brain. It would be nice if PS5 was backwards compatible. It would be excellent. I mean, I know there's technical reasons why they say they can't do it, but I don't know. I kind of call bullshit. I think they just don't want to do it. Well, they don't want you playing old games on a new system. They don't want you going back and binging your old catalog. They want you buying new software. Like they want you, that's why they even go as far as to shut all the great emulators down, because they want you buying and playing the new games. Well, there are a lot of R words said a lot in Rebirth, you know. So, I know everybody's been saying, you're not the first person that says Reclaim because Sephiroth said it a lot in Rebirth. I don't know. I think you just have to look at like what's happening in the third part of the story. Like, and not just going after like, you know, like hot keywords and stuff like that. Like they said they got their keyword figured out for the third game. And it could be a number of things. I think redemption, I've said ad nauseum why I think redemption, because I think that's the most potent theme in the third part, the third act of the story, is the theme of redemption. And no redemption for Sephiroth. He's the one character that gets no redemption. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of things they need to tie up in Rebirth, or in the third game. The pacing, I hope they tighten up the pacing a little bit. Final Fantasy VII refund. There were a lot of people that thought the second game should be called that. And think of it too, like it's not just redemption for the story in the game. You could say it's redemption for Square Enix. You know, hey, like, look, we did it. We brought you the game. We retold the story. You know, Final Fantasy VII retold. You know, ooh. Final Fantasy VII retold, remake, rebirth, retold. Ooh. I might have a new one. Ooh. Remake. You're curious about my top 10 and above video games. You know, I've been considering doing several top 10s. Like top 10s of eras, like different systems, whatever, or top 10s all time. Maybe capping it off with all time. Any chance you will play Silent Hill F on stream? Yeah, there's a great chance of it. My backlog is insane with my workload on top. But yeah, I want to play... Excuse me. Oof. I want to play Silent Hill F. I want to get to it. Creepy as all hell for sure, but I still got to play Silent Hill 2 Remake. Man. I did play that, but I didn't play it on stream, and I want to go back and play it again. So, but yes, I'm going to play Silent Hill F on stream. Absolutely. I've got it. I just haven't had time to play it yet. Top 10 all time. Well, my top 5 are as follows. Final Fantasy VII OG. Chrono Trigger. Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Number 5 swaps a lot. I'm going to say Chrono Cross. Number 5 is Chrono Cross. But Devil May Cry 1 is in the top 10 somewhere. The Grand Stream Saga is my personal, one that's up there. Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 is up there. Assassin's Creed 2. And I'm gonna claim the whole Ezio trilogy because I consider that one story. Ezio is such an amazing character. It's hard to not put him in there. Castlevania 3 is in there. There's one I'm missing. Let me see. Let me just look over here. Oh, Final Fantasy Tactics is in there. Well, yeah. Like, Final Fantasy Tactics could be number 5. But Chrono Cross is number 5 right now for me. Yeah. Symphony of the Night, Chrono Trigger, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Silent Hill 2. Yeah, I mean, I could do a top 50. I mean, it really is like that. I could probably do a top 50. Symphony of the Night, yeah. I thought I said Symphony of the Night's in my top 10. Yeah, 2 Castlevania games are my top 10. It's Castlevania 3 and Symphony of the Night. But oddly enough, so if I'm just looking at it for like the games that kind of influenced me and what I like in video games, I'm putting Castlevania 3 and Symphony of the Night in the top 10. But, and this is where it gets weird, and I understand if you don't understand what I'm saying here. Those two are not my favorite Castlevania game. My favorite Castlevania game is actually Castlevania Curse of Darkness. That's my favorite Castlevania game. Mixture of music, art, gameplay, everything that makes Castlevania Castlevania. It's Curse of Darkness for me. And plus, you get... It's basically a sequel to Castlevania 3, which is one of my favorite Castlevanias up to that point. You get to battle Trevor a few times, which is really wild. So yeah, that was really good. Well, actually, Last Soldier, you can buy them on the website. You can buy them directly through me, AuraOfficial.com, and I sign them and put some extra goodies in there and send it to you. I love Simon's Quest. I do love Simon's Quest. It's, but it's very flawed. It's very flawed. I wouldn't put that in my top 10, just because it's really badly translated and everything. But I love that they introduced leveling for Simon in that game, and he can actually get stronger. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I'll still play. Apparently there is a Simon's Quest version online. It's like a remaster of Simon's Quest or something that is fan made. I've always wanted to play that and try that out. A fine top 10. That is a fine top 10. My keyboard ain't keyboarding. There you go, Last Soldier. I just tagged you in that. That's the website for, that's the link for the website for Aurora, the store. If you want to pick up the books and stuff signed by me and everything, you can actually get them there. Bro, I would love to do some hardcore thinking and stuff. See, that's why I think I would like to do a top 10 for different eras of gaming. NES, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. PS4 and PS5 I'd probably put together, because everything kind of starts to run together at that point. And PS3, that era might take some hunting. Might be kind of light, but Halo 2 is a lot of people's favorite. Like, Halo 2 is a lot of people's favorite game. Of the Halo games. Like, it really is. Like, it's and Halo 2 is the one I played the most with my buddies. I think that was probably the funnest LAN party Halo, probably. I think Halo 2 was kind of built for that. And that was a lot of people's favorite game. Xbox One had some great games on it, man. Had some really great games. There was this one RPG, I can't remember. It had Patrick Stewart voicing a character in it too, and it was like a launch title for Xbox. It was, it was like this, I don't know, it was like a fantasy game. I can't remember the name of it now. I'll have to go back and look. What? Okay, I'm going to look real quick. I'm going to do a little diving real quick. Hang on. Original Xbox. Hang on, I'm going to go one further here. Okay. You know what? I'm never going to find this thing. I don't know why I'm looking. I'm never going to find it. Jade Empire was really good. I remember Jade Empire. That was a BioWare game. I remember that one. That was a good game. Yeah, I'm never going to find this game. That's okay. I'm going to give up on it. For now. I might look more into it some other time. But yeah. Hang on. Okay, yeah. Scratch that. Never gonna find it. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. I don't need to be looking for it. You're welcome, Last Soldier. So, yeah, so I guess I gotta start cranking that out. I gotta start thinking about that. Okay, Nelson. I see that list. I see that list. Some bangers on there. Legend of Dragoon is definitely a banger. Of the Castlevania games, I think I'd probably have to put Bloodlines in there from Sega Genesis. I think it was called Castlevania: The New Generation, the PAL version, or the not PAL version, but the European version. I think was called that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, was that the double disc PS1 game? That was good. That was really good. Who remembers Stardust on PlayStation 3? It was just like this little arcade style game, but I played the shit out of Stardust, man. I really did. I played the hell out of Stardust. Well, my top 5 can fluctuate some. My top 10 fluctuates a lot, just depending on kind of what mood I'm in and how I'm remembering a game. But my top 5 lately has been pretty solid. Expedition 33 shook it up. Before Expedition 33, it was Final Fantasy VII. I am so tired. I can't even think right now. Final Fantasy VII, Chrono Trigger, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy Tactics. That was my 5 all time. But Expedition 33 shook it up. It bumped everything down 1 from the 3 spot. So yeah, it took the 3 spot. It didn't overtake Final Fantasy VII and Chrono Trigger for me. It didn't take those over. Final Fantasy X could also honestly be in my top 10 as well. I mean, it's really with a top 10 all time. It's really one of those things that I would have to go like system by system and make a top 10 for those, and then maybe make it like a tournament, like a battle royale or something, you know, or like a single elimination tournament. It's like, what are the ones in this list that make it to the next, the all-time list? You know, what is my true all-time list? If I really thought about it, I don't know. That's a great question. That's a really good question. I didn't play Game Boy. I didn't play the Game Boy Castlevanias until they were released in the collections on PS4. So Game Boy was that was a dead system to me. I never played it. I never had a handheld. First handheld I really had was like PSP. I bought a PSP. I've still got my PlayStation Vita. It needs to be charged up, but last time I charged it up last year and played it for a little bit, still worked fine. It doesn't have the network functionality anymore, but the games that are on there, on my little stick I bought for it, still on there. I can play Chrono Cross on my Vita to go. I can play the Chrono Trigger PS1 port. I've still got greatest hits that are on the Vita. Or the PlayStation Store stuff from the Vita. Still got that stuff on there. So, yeah. I'd have to give some serious thought about possibly rewriting the top 10. You all may have given me some content for next week to think about. So what I'm going to do, what I think I might do, is on Discord and maybe on a post on here, first I'm going to think about the NES. I'm going to do my top 10 NES, and I'll post those on Discord and later as a post here on the channel. And then I'll start kind of going through those. Dude, Days Gone was good. Days Gone was so good. Dude, yeah, I did. PS4. Days Gone was good. Didn't they do a remaster of that? Or were going to do a remaster of it or something like that? Like the first one. I don't know what happened for the second one or whatever. I never played the second one if it ever came out. But Days Gone 1? That shit was good, dude. That was like the best zombie game I've ever played. Like that's not Resident Evil, you know. As far as like current gen zombie games, like zombie apocalypse games, Days Gone, man, for sure, for sure. Story was great, really good stuff. I'd put Days Gone. You know what? I might play Days Gone again. I might, you know what? I might stream Days Gone, because I think I've forgotten enough about that game for it to be kind of fresh now. Bet. I might have to play Days Gone. Put it on the pile. Another log on the fire. Just put another log on the fire over there. Anyway. Dude, there were a lot of things like that. Like the great thing about Days Gone is like, the thing I like about it is like, it's post-apocalyptic, but every single person you meet is not like trying to kill you, you know. And even your character is a good dude. Soundtrack is good, and the dread, like whenever you come across like a zombie or a villain of any kind, there's a real feeling of dread. Like there's a real feeling of, I gotta get out of here. I don't know if I should fight this thing or not. I might want to get out of here. There's a real feeling of that. You know, when I talk about horror games, I'm like, a horror game is only good if you have a sense of dread for what's going on. Otherwise, you're just playing an action game. Like, that was my thing with Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne, but I don't call it horror because I never felt dread. I never felt like I was dreading coming across something. In that respect, it was just a fantastic action game to me. Like, your good Resident Evils, Silent Hill does this amazingly well. Alan Wake 1 did this. The sense of dread. Like, man, I don't want to go investigate that. I don't know if I'm prepared properly to go investigate this sound that I'm hearing right now. Like, Days Gone was filled with that. Filled with that. I love that about that game. Man, y'all gonna make me play Days Gone. Y'all gonna make me crack open Days Gone and play it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I would love like an open world survival horror game where you could kind of like go out in the woods and kind of build your own shed or whatever, you know. Like, people ask me a lot of times at comic book conventions, the anime conventions that I table at, they're like, you know, what do you watch late at night after your live streams and to really put your head in this? I was like, I sit on my couch with YouTube on and watch weird dudes build cabins out in the woods. That's what I watch. I go on YouTube and I watch weird guys from other countries build underground cabins on YouTube. That's my escapism. I think there's a part of me that finds the whole survival thing very, very alluring, you know. Like, not like I could do that, you know. I wouldn't be as good with my hands as those guys, but I feel like in another life I probably could have been the guy that goes out and just builds like a shelter in the woods during the weekend to go hunting or whatever. I feel like in another life I could have been that guy, you know, because it's so intriguing to me. But it is so cool, right? It's so cool to watch those guys go out and do that stuff. But I would love a survival horror game where that was kind of like an option, you know? It's like you're kind of staying, you dig your 10-foot hole with like stairs coming out, and then you cover it back up so it looks like it's just regular ground. Like, you build it, you cover it back up, you retreat into the woods, people are chasing you, you know, you retreat into the woods and you get into your underground thing, you lock it down, you stay down there for a couple of days with all your stuff. Man, I mean, that would be so cool. That would be such a cool game. Well, I think the stuff I could do without in Alan Wake was like the whole like emasculating You know, like, I think that was a popular thing in games for about 5 years. Was just like, big dumb man. You're just a big dumb man. You're just a big dumb man. We know you're the main character, but you're just a big dumb man. You can't get this done. You need a little help. You need a little... Nah, I don't need no fucking help. I need you to stay out of my way. Let me fix this situation. Alan Wake had some of that for me, but other than that, it wasn't bad for me. Lost Odyssey would be in that PlayStation 3 era for me, if I'm being honest, because it's an Xbox 360 game, but it's in that era. And Lost Odyssey is amazing. I would love... Is Lost Odyssey on the PlayStation Store? Is that on PlayStation Store now? I meant to look into that once, but I never did. I need to look into that, because if it's available, I'm going to get it. And we're going to play it. That was a great game. Oh yeah, Alan Wake 2 is way longer than Alan Wake 1. But I loved Alan Wake 1. I love the shadowy, like, creature stuff you would chase. I mean, it's like, there was such a level of mystery and allure to that first Alan Wake game. I remember I first saw my roommate playing it at the time. And then I watched him play it so much, I was like, I gotta play this. So then I played it. And I was like, this is so good. And when Alan Wake 2 was announced, I was like, thank God they made another one. Like, people love Control a lot, but I think the best game that company ever produced was Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2. But I love the first Alan Wake. It's got a special place in my heart for sure. Well, alright everybody, I think I'm going to probably have to call it a night there. I got to get back to work on some stuff, and plus I got to get to bed a little bit earlier tonight. I got to be at the doctor's office at 10:30 in the morning. So it means I got to be there at 10. I got to get up early, drive to the next town over, do all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, so fun hang tonight. Appreciate everybody that came out tonight. Everybody threw a like on the video. Really appreciate you all so much for helping to grow the channel and get other eyes on it. So we will be back on Saturday night here on this channel, and we'll be on the Aurora channel the rest of the nights this week, just doing this, hanging out and talking, but while I'm working on production for Aurora and stuff like that. So thank you again for everybody being here, tuning in, and I hope you all have a great night. Be safe, be good to each other, keep rocking, and of course I will see you all in the next video or live stream. You all have a great night. Take care. I'll see you later.